Hey everybody, welcome to the DBZ United podcast. I'm TJ and I've got a couple guests on the podcast today. We have Steve, one of our regular guys. Steve, say hello.
Hey, what's up, guys?
And we also have a special guest on today. We have Alex. Alex works at Brothers Grimm Games and Collectibles in Selden, New York. And as you may know, that's going to be the site for one of the regionals for Dragon Ball Z. So we've got Alex on. He's going to talk about pretty much all things regional today, all things organized play for whether for our locals and for the big events. So Alex is a tournament organizer and judge at Brothers Grimm. So Alex, say hi.
How's it going, guys?
All right, so let's jump right in. Let's just start with the information first of all. So we've got a regional, and just looking at the list now to see exactly which one it is. We're pretty much right in the middle here with our regional on September 12th in Selden, New York, and that's again at Brothers Grimm Games and Collectibles. And so, Alex, let's just jump right in, man. How can people sign up? When's this going to start? Let's just give them the rundown.
Okay, so basically what we're going to be doing eventually is we're going to have a pre-registration open on our website, which is
Hey, Alex, I think we lost you there. You still on?
Yes, it's our website's brgrim.com. Eventually it's going to be up there. It's not quite up there yet. We haven't got that set up. But eventually there's going to be a PayPal link on there for anyone that wants to pre-register for the regional. As of right now, we're looking at a cap of 200 players, which is a lot. I think we're going to get 200 players, to be honest, since we're the only one in the Northeast that's actually going to be running a regional. The prize payout, as far as I know, is going to be provided by Panini for the most part in terms of the cash prize. This is over $2,000 in actual cash. Plus, there's going to be plenty of booster boxes, packs, etc. to pretty much everybody that comes in the event.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be awesome. And so for the actual day of the event, it's going to be starting pretty early, right?
Yeah, we're going to be actually starting registration at 9 a.m., which is when the store pretty much opens the doors. And round one, I believe, is going to start at 10 a.m. We're going to have a little judge meeting, stuff like that. We're going to have announcements about door prizes and the tournament structure. And then we're going to be ready to go. I think we're going to be doing around 7 to 8 rounds of Swiss if we're getting 200 people. And I believe a cut of top 16.
Yep, that's what I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at the tournament guide, and for everyone that hasn't seen that, that's on Panini's DBZ blog, so check that out. It's under Tournament Documents. And so what's recommended here, or basically required, I guess, for organized play of an event of this magnitude, if you have around that 200-player cap, that'll give you 8 rounds and a cut to top 16.
Exactly.
Oh, wow. And do we know how much the registration is going to be as well?
That's in terms of
$20 entry. Again, it's going to be for pre-registration once we get that set up, and we will be doing on-site if you haven't pre-registered.
Okay. I mean, for the oops, sorry, TJ.
No, go ahead, Steve.
But for the people that really haven't been in the card gaming scheme, I was wondering if you'd be able to kind of give your experience, since you've run other large tournaments for other card games, about the experience, just so people can know what to expect. How long is it? What's the atmosphere happening at Grimm? Alex? Oh, maybe we did lose him this time.
All right, well,
Alex?
Yeah, are you there?
Yeah, did you hear what I was asking? Or?
Oh, yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, okay.
With 200 people in a regional, if you're normally going to a local where you only have maybe 10 to 15 players, 200 people it's a lot to have in one room. So basically, you want to be as prepared as possible. Try not to bring like any extra stuff with you. Mostly just like your deck, paper, pen, stuff like that. Nothing really that you're not going to immediately need for the tournament, because it is going to be a pretty long day, probably about 10 to 12 hours if you make it all the way through.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. And then, do we know if there's going to be like side events being run, or is that something that's kind of at the discretion of the store?
We are going to be doing side events. I believe that's going to be starting at the beginning of round 3 or 4. We're going to be doing 8-man win-a-boxes. It's going to be $10 entry. And then as soon as we get 8 people, you start a tournament. It's 3 rounds, single elimination. So basically, you could do that all day if you feel like you got 3 losses and you want to drop out of the tournament, which feel free to do at any time. You can do side events, which will be running throughout the day, starting in round 3, I believe, round 3 or 4. We haven't quite decided yet on the exact time yet.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. And so for the boxes, is it going to be like all sets of DBZ or just set 3?
I believe it's just going to be the most recent set, which is going to be the movie collection.
Right.
But for $10, you're in an 8-man tournament, and if you come in first, all you got to do is you win 3 games in a row, and you win a box for $10.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Wow. Let's see.
So also another thing that we've been doing a lot in the DBZ community, as Alex knows, we've been doing this at Grim, and we're going to continue to do it for DBZ United, is live streaming. So, Alex, what are you thinking about that? Is the store going to do anything, or is that just going to be up to the the player bases and the people with their own fan sites?
Yeah, that's going to be pretty much up to the player base. This, as a store level, we don't really have a dedicated streaming service. So we're pretty much going to leave that up to probably you guys, and if anyone else comes up to us and wants to stream, if we have the room for it, which if we have 200 people, we might not have the room to actually do a dedicated streaming site. We might only have maybe like a feature match table, and that's about it. But yeah, I mean, I'm completely okay with people streaming as long as the players are okay with it. I mean, as a judge, I wouldn't have any issue with that.
Let's see.
So yeah, I think that pretty much covers it for the regional. I mean, Alex, is there anything you want to add on that?
Let me see. Oh, for the people that haven't actually read the blog, you're going to be getting 3 promos for entering. One of which is Wall Breaker, which will be legal to play at the regional. So if you're missing out on Wall Breakers, or I think the other 2 is Saiyan Outrage and Orange Possession Drill. They're all alt art foils.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You are able to use those in the tournament. Also, for those of you who haven't been at a large scale event like this, we will be doing deck registrations. So make sure to be aware of that. We will be doing, I think, deck checks after the top cut. We might be doing random deck checks if we have enough time and staff to do that.
Yeah, and if anyone hasn't seen the tournament documents, it's very important that you're 100% accurate when you write these. Otherwise, if you're even a few cards off either way, that could be a game loss. And if you're more than that, you really put yourself at jeopardy of losing the whole tournament.
Mm-hmm. That's only if you write it, even just write it wrong too. So I mean, you got to make sure you're really on the ball with that, because you may have a legal deck and then write the wrong things in the deck list and still be penalized for it.
Yeah, I've actually judged a couple Bushiroad games for those of you familiar with Card Fight Vanguard, which is there's a regional actually coming up this weekend for in New York and White Plains. Deck registration is a huge deal. If you write your deck list wrong, it's very, very possible you will be disqualified from the tournament. They're very serious about that.
Yeah, so just to recap again, looking at the tournament guide that Panini has put out. So if you don't, you need to have the exact 60, obviously. If you're 3 cards under or 3 over, that could be a game loss. And if you're 4 or more wrong in each direction, could be a total disqualification.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean it's wild. But anyway, moving on from the organized play aspect, I guess the other thing that it'd be interesting to get your opinion on, Alex, the new sealed format, the fact that Panini's been actually releasing organized structure to everything is actually very exciting for the community now too, because a lot of people have been asking questions about sealed events and rulings for uh, rainbowing cards and stuff like that. And I mean, what are your thoughts? Have you read the sealed guide from Panini? Or?
Yeah, I browsed the sealed guide a little bit. The structure that it's at right now, I think that bringing your own personality set is neat, but I think that eventually people are going to break that, where you're going to see sealed events where you have 15 people playing Piccolo, Namekian, or Krillin Black, or something crazy like Goku, Namekian, or something is going to happen where it's not going to be balanced at all. What we're actually planning to do at our store is we're going to be doing 6-man pods to draft the actual personalities and the masteries in a snake draft format. So basically, if you have first pick of the personalities, you're going to have the last pick of the masteries. So I think that's the fairest way to do it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, that's something we've definitely discussed. I mean, with you, but also other tournament organizers, and we've heard on Retro, and people have different opinions. I've heard that some people just want to do straight random with the set one MPs and the masteries and just roll dice and see what you draw. Some people want to stick with the Panini recommendation of bringing it. So I'd say definitely, if you're in an area where you have access to multiple sealed events and you have the time and the money, definitely try to go out to them, because there's going to be different aspects of strategy for each one. And no matter what, you're going to get 8 booster packs of movie collection right in your pocket.
Yep. I mean, I think the beauty of that too is that even if they run them differently, it keeps it fresh. And I know that one of the things that people like to harp on, because the game is so new, is the meta. And okay, this person's playing Ginyu, and having the sealed event and even having the different variations that we can do with the sealed event, I think definitely infuses a little bit more variety and then fun with the game. And we're getting another set, so I mean it's expanding in a lot of different directions at the same time, but I think that they're being very responsible with it as well, so it's not going to completely slip out of control like I know some people think.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely a fan of where the game is going right now, and just the fact that we can have a guy like Alex on to talk about all the organized play details is awesome. Because as early as even a few months ago, people thought that organized play for Panini was basically a pipe dream, and yet here we are, right? We've got a whole structure and these regionals are going to lead directly into Worlds, and prizes for that are going to be awesome as well. So it's really exciting right now.
Actually, I have another question for you, Alex. Come to think of it, is there any I guess direction from Panini in terms of deck lists and like who's going to regionals? Like, are we refraining from posting deck lists so that the person can maintain their deck, or are we posting them to show everyone like who's making it to the regional cut? I mean the world cut, excuse me.
That's not something that I'm aware of right now, and like the tournament documents that I received, I don't think that Panini has an official like deck registration that they're providing, or if we're sending them like top cut lists, so like if they're going to be putting up on their website after regionals. I know that a few different companies, when they do big regionals like this, they do have deck lists, and they put up the top 8 deck lists or top 4, however that is, just to show people like, hey, if you're interested, this is what the deck is. And I know some people are really secretive and they want to play like, oh, I tech this card just because it's really good in this matchup, and some people don't want to share that information. But most of the time in every major card game, you're not gonna really have that secrecy anymore. They want to try to make it as public as possible to prevent people like colluding against other players. So like, for example, in Magic the Gathering, before they used to have top cut, they used to not share deck lists for the top 8. So you would have guys come to an event, and they'd have 10 or 12 guys, and like a few of them wouldn't be playing in the tournament, and they would watch other players look at their deck lists, and after the round, they'd be like, all right, hey, this guy's playing this matchup. So, if you ever play him in the round, you have to watch out for this card. Now, whenever you go into a top cut, all the deck lists are available. So even before the match, you see what your opponent is playing. So there's no real surprises, which I think would be a good idea for Panini to do that, but nothing official yet.
Okay. Yeah. I actually also just thought of another question. I think we've all seen the tournament document set up right now in terms of in terms of how things are ruled. And an interesting thing, and we're especially going to run into this with if we expect 200 people to be at Brothers Grimm, which I think we pretty much believe right now, given where we're located. So you're going to have 200 people, but you're only going to cut to 16. So tiebreakers are definitely going to come into play. And what's really interesting is that Panini doesn't have a computer system, but they do have a tiebreaker procedure. So what I'm wondering is, so Alex, how's that going to work on your end? Are you going to have to calculate that by hand? Can you program another program like DCI to follow that order? How's that going to happen?
I think in the coming weeks, Panini plans on putting out an actual tournament program that's going to be doing tiebreakers and stuff like that. If they don't, at a store level, we have access to other games' tournament software that they do have tiebreakers like that. I'm not really sure how that is going to work though if they don't have exact tiebreakers, because I know Panini's tournament document, there's like 6 different things in terms of how do you resolve a draw. Like if, for example, if you go into time, there's a 2-turn procedure. So for those of you who aren't aware, I believe it's going to be 40-minute rounds, best of 1, and then if the game is not over in time, you finish the turn, and then you play 2 more turns. And then if there's no winner after that, the matches go to tiebreakers, which I don't have the document directly in front of me, so I can't really look at it. I think it starts with the amount of cards left in deck. If that's tied, it goes to the amount of Dragon Balls in play or something like that. There's like 6 or 7 things.
Possession of them, yep.
Yeah, that it goes down the list to prevent it from actually being straight up tie. So like there's going to be a winner most of the time. I don't think that there's going to be many 1-point draws where you're going to see people with records like 5-0-2 or something like that. There's going to be distinct winners in each matchup. It goes into time.
Yeah, and what we've seen with the new rules is that there's also no intentional draws, so you're going to have to play it out. Even if you're sitting there undefeated, you don't really have any other options, so people aren't just going to be able to skate until the end. If you're still alive, then keep playing. You might be able to tiebreak yourself into one of the last spots and make the top 16.
Yeah, that's a great point. The thing with that is that's going to prevent people from giving friends wins that maybe not deserve to be in there, or it's also going to help the people that start out 0-1, 0-2, that they can maybe go 5-2, 6-2, depending on how many rounds there are, and still possibly make a top cut.
Yeah, although I'd say 8 rounds looking at a top 16, just my guesstimation, but I'd be shocked if you can make it with anything less than 7-1. That would just be my feeling right now. But again, that'll give you more time to play the side events. And
exactly. In all honesty, I think the side events is great for those people that aren't they have a tough day. For $10, you can win a box. I mean, from what I've seen in the prize structure, from at least what Brothers Grimm's basic prize layout right now, I think 3rd and 4th place are getting about a box and a half if we have 200 players, and 5th or 8th get about 20 packs, I think that is. So it's like almost a full box.
Wow.
Where in the side events for $10 you get a whole box, and a lot of people aren't going to get that much prizes. So
yeah,
I think the side events are a really, really good opportunity for people to not have a bad day just saying like, oh man, I came all the way out here, drove 10 hours to go 0-2 or 0-3, and now I'm just stuck here. So definitely side events are going to be a big thing. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy that.
Yeah, and just to touch on something you mentioned there, that people who make the top cut, in addition to all the Panini sponsored and recommended prizes, we're also going to get sealed product from Grimm. So let's just run through the breakdown of that again. So like first, second, how many boxes? Like we're estimating right now based on turnout and things
Yeah,
like that.
we have like a rough estimate. I don't have the papers in front of me, but I believe that first and second place are just going to be receiving the Panini prizes because first place gets $1,000 from Panini.
True.
And the invite to World. Second place gets $500 in the invite, and I think then we're starting the actual booster packs and boxes at third place. That's going to be with 200 players. I think we're giving out a box and a half for third and fourth. Fifth through eighth is going to be getting about 20 packs. This is a rough estimate. We haven't done the whole details yet, but 9th through 16th is probably going to be getting about 10 packs. 17th through 32nd is probably going to be getting about 5 packs. And then 33rd to 64th is probably going to be about 3 packs. And then I think everyone else in the tournament, if we get 200 players, is going to be getting 1 pack. So even if even if you don't do well at all, you're going to be getting at least 1 booster pack. Plus the promos. I mean, the promos alone, if you don't have access to getting to a regional, is definitely going to be worth the trip, in my opinion.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. So even if you don't make it through to the Panini recommended top cut, you should still, play for a couple rounds. If you could get yourself, 10 packs just by getting deep in the tournament, that's really cool.
Yeah. In a 200-person tournament, I think even coming in top 32, like if it's a 7-round tournament, you go 4-3. You might be there. It's entirely possible.
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, you can go ahead, Steve.
That's the beauty of having bigger tournaments. I mean, there could be a lot of people with higher, records, but in the same respect, you may have those weird matchups that kind of screw with all the records for everybody. And then there could be a lot of people going in with, lower records like that, 5-3, and 6-2 and stuff like that, or even lower than that.
Yeah, so it's going to be very interesting, and with that, I guess we'll just wrap it up again to plug it one more time. September 12th in Selden, New York, Brothers Grimm Games and Collectibles. That's going to be our regional for the New York, the Northeast area, and we're expecting big turnout, big prizes, a lot of great side events, and it's going to be an awesome time, and we're going to have our guy Alex run the show, so everything's going to go smoothly, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Hey, Alex,
I definitely look forward to seeing everybody out there. Come on down. The store is huge. We're going to be running side events all day. We're going to be doing door prizes, tons of prizes. Panini really did a really good job with this. The first year that the game has been out, and they're giving away, it seems like $50,000 worth of prizes and product between the 12 regionals and worlds. That's incredible for a game that hasn't even been out for a full year.
Yeah, it's awesome, and if we continue to support it now, come out, have big turnout at all these events, it's only going to get better from here. So I'm hoping to see everybody out there, whether you're whatever state you're from, and especially if you're a fan of DBZ United and you're not part of our locals already, we can't wait to see you. We're excited to have you. So with that, I think we're going to wrap up this part of the podcast. This is kind of a 2-part podcast we're going right here. So this first bit, we're covering everything with Alex, and stay tuned for the second half. It will just be, spitballing, talking about decks, things we might play in sealed, how we're feeling about it, and our ideas, who we would draft, everything like that. So thanks for listening to DBZ United, and check back for more.